AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from downtown Baton Rouge.
Let's ride!
Hour 2. Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Decision Critical, concierge nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Aaron Taylor, 1 hour from right now. Mike Triplett will be here in hour 3 as well. We'll head to Oxford. Our buddy Neal McCready will be here in 15 minutes. We'll talk some LSU-Ole Miss from the Ole Miss side of things. But I think this has been fascinating to watch what the line has done in this LSU-Ole Miss game. So we had an opportunity to grab Johnny Avello, the director of sports operations from DraftKings. Been a great guest. We met him at the Super Bowl, and we've stayed in touch. And appreciate very much, Johnny, for joining us for a couple of minutes here. Hey, Johnny, thank you for the time. How are you?
Hey, Matt. Doing great. Thank you.
Of course. It's our pleasure to have you. Where did DraftKings open the LSU-Ole Miss line?
When you look ahead on that look ahead line, we were at Mississippi 1.5, and guess where we are now? 1.5 Mississippi. Now, we haven't moved the line, but I can tell you that the influx of money is coming in on LSU against the number, over 60% of the money, and on the money line, over 60% of the money, over 70% of the money though in bets, and that tells me that they're parlaying LSU on the money line with a lot of other games.
That's really. What about the number of tickets? Is there a correlation with the money and the percentage of tickets?
Yeah, well, that would be the bet. So that would be bet. So that's 73%, I think, on tickets.
What would it take, Johnny, for the line to move?
A couple of things. It doesn't take from a sharp bettor. It doesn't take like $100,000 to move us. If a sharp bettor came up, who we consider to be sharp, and he bet $10,000 on this game, we would move. And he bet the Mississippi side, we would move to 2, or if he bet the LSU side, we'd move to 1. So it's either a sharp bettor or a lot of money. Let's say somebody came up and bet $500,000 on one side. If we're just overloaded on that one side, we would definitely move the line 0.5 point. Sure,
that would do it. And you all haven't moved at all. Even the look ahead. Did you have the look ahead line at any point during the summer?
Yeah, we did go to LSU, Mississippi 2.5.
Okay,
but that didn't last long.
Yeah.
So that went away pretty quick. So that's kind of most of the movement on this game. Not a lot.
Are you? I thought I remembered on Monday maybe seeing a 2 or 2.5 with you guys. So Ole Miss went 2.5 and quickly came back. So a lot of the money coming in on LSU. Is this? Do you sense a pros versus Joes, like a sharp against the public type game here?
I don't know. I mean, just watching this, when I look at both teams, what is the public? What is the sharp handicappers going to do? I mean. They got LSU, who hasn't been running the ball well. They beat Clemson. They beat Florida. But now that we look at Clemson, they look like dogs. And then Ole Miss is one of the worst defenses in the country. So, I don't know what the pros are going to see in this game. Mississippi, some home field. Is that going to make a difference here? I mean, they've beaten Kentucky and Arkansas. Kentucky's not good. So
right.
Both of those teams have weak defenses. This is one of the best defenses in the country. So I don't know which way. I would say if the pros are going to bet this game, they're going to bet LSU. I don't think they'd lay the points with Mississippi.
Johnny Avello is with us. He's the director of sportsbook operations over at DraftKings. I'm glad you mentioned the home field because I asked you this question when you were with us for the Clemson game. What is Ole Miss's home field worth?
Couple of points. That's it.
Okay.
It's they have this good start, Matt. That's the thing. They're 4-0, so people are thinking their team's picking up where they left off last year. They lose last year's game after dominating the whole game, losing overtime. So a lot of that plays into, where the bets are going to come from, where the line was set at, some of the intangibles in the game.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. One good thing about Ole Miss is that Jackson Dart starting for Giants this week. And since I'm a Giant fan, I'm kind of excited about that.
Okay. Jackson Dart was fantastic. Look, Johnny, when we've talked about this game a lot, obviously, here this week, and I just see a role reversal from a year ago where Ole Miss went so heavy in the transfer portal, had this incredibly talented roster, the most players drafted in a single draft in their program's history. I mean, all those guys are gone now, and actually LSU is the team with the super talented roster. I wanted to ask you, how you all are sort of handicapping this LSU defense, because it feels like, just finger on the pulse, maybe the public, certainly a lot of the talking heads, have been slow to catch on to just how good this unit is as they've sort of looked at recent history, which I don't know that that's relevant for this squad because it's a whole bunch of new dudes that LSU spent a whole bunch of money to get.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the defense as one of the best in the country, but it's the offense that's slowing down a little bit, that's keeping the team down from having a higher power rating. Like I mentioned, they don't run the ball well. That's not typical of LSU.
Sure.
And they're not particularly that great at passing. So this is a team that they should be able to move the football on. Matt, when you looked at last year's game, I know there wasn't a lot of scoring in 3 of the 4 quarters. It was one quarter that blew up. So, but that was a different element. LSU should be able to score. And, by looking at it at face value, they look like they can score and they look like they can shut down the team. Whether it goes that way, I don't know.
Johnny, you getting a lot of action on the total?
Yeah, they're betting it over. 55.5 was the opener. It's up to 56.5, and I would presume that this thing hits 57.
Wow. I know we talked about that with the Clemson game. Johnny, maybe I'm just drinking all the purple and gold Kool-Aid on this defense. This game screams under to me. So I will patiently wait for you all to continue bumping up that line, and I would love to play an under. Hey, I wanted to ask you about one other game before you go, and Musso asked me to put this on my radar. There's been a touchdown line movement in Ohio State, Washington?
Yeah, the game opened up 10, and we're at 8.5. So certainly some Washington money. Undefeated at home, good quality program. We don't know a lot about Ohio State just yet. We think they're, a good team, but so a 1.5 point move, that's pretty significant. And it's kind of trending that way too. So, could see an 8 here. I could see this thing dropping maybe a little bit more. Okay.
I thought maybe that the movement had been a little more significant. Okay, so that's not quite as significant as maybe we had thought. Okay. Ohio State, Washington this weekend. One more before I get you out of here. What about as we look to what might be the biggest game of the weekend, which is Alabama, Georgia? I would presume that's going to be a large chunk of your handle this weekend.
When you look at the games this week, first of all, this game, LSU game, is in our top 5 bets so far.
Okay.
So that game's going to handle a lot of money. Yeah, Alabama, Georgia, that's going to be one. That game is 3. We opened Georgia 3. We're 3.5. We're down to 3. They like Alabama in this spot early. But you got Auburn, A&M, Tennessee, Mississippi State, some really good SEC games this week. They're all going to write a ton of money. I think SEC prevails this week. in college football for DraftKings.
We've been a great DraftKings been a great partner of ours here, and we're excited whenever we get a few minutes here with Johnny Avello, busy guy, director of sportsbook operations over at DraftKings. Y'all download the app. You want to play along. We got plenty of picks coming up today and all day tomorrow as well. So make sure you download the DraftKings sportsbook app and play along with us here. Johnny, we always appreciate the time, man. I'm sure we'll have reason to bother you again somewhere down the line this season. Thank you.
Hope so. Talk soon.
Of course, that's Johnny Avello. You can imagine it's football season. Of course, the NFL slate gets started tonight, and for week 4. Busy dude, but good enough to give us a couple of minutes. We appreciate it greatly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Play along with us. Of course, you can use the promo code Baton Rouge. They always have great deals and specials that we tell you about all the time. So we appreciate Johnny for carving out a few minutes here. Interesting that the money is 60% of the money is coming in on LSU. They haven't moved the line yet. But when it bumped initially to Ole Miss 2.5, it went right back down. So I think you're going to have a flood of LSU money. You're getting that LSU defense and points. You're going to have a flood of LSU money before this thing all wraps up. Anyway, all right, let's not get a quick break. Let's go to Oxford. Our buddy Neal McCready is here next on AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge.
AFR.
The weather is getting a little cooler. You can smell the holidays in the air getting near. And for so many people, that's the time they want to be in a new home. If that's you, you better call Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Listen, if you're going to buy a home, you probably got to sell yours first. Do you know what your home is worth? Do you know? Oh, man, I did the Zestimate thing. When was the last time Zillow was in your home? Here's the thing. Go to agent225.com. Darren has a home value tool on the website. It's totally free. Totally free. You don't have to sign up for anything. You just type in your address in the home value tool, and boom, it'll pop up your home value with local market data. Agent225.com. Do it right now. Agent225.com.
Think real estate. Think Darren James.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Really excited for this challenge to play at home and for first place in the SEC, play a great team, top 3 team in the country like LSU is an awesome opportunity for us. So got to continue to have a great week of preparation. These guys probably have the best roster since we've been here, from top to bottom, and we're going to have to prepare and play really well.
Ain't no probably about it. This will be a different kind of challenge for Lane Kiffin's Rebels, as LSU this year is built differently. Neal McCready, Rebels, 24/7. Good enough to join us. Get him on Twitter or X at Neal McCready. Hey, man, how are you?
Matt, I'm good. How are you?
Doing awesome. So there was all kind of news breaking on Wednesday that Trinidad Chambliss would start, and then Lane Kiffin went on McAfee show and said that was news to him. We expecting Trinidad Chambliss to start Saturday?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, Lane is using the word available instead of injury on these reports, and frankly, that's the league's fault. The league calls it availability reports, so he says, here's who's available. Austin Simmons will be available. He will be dressed. He will go through warmups, and in a world where he is needed, he will be available.
Okay.
I think Trinidad Chambliss will start, and I think their plan will be for him to play the overwhelming majority of the game. I think they would like to probably not play Simmons because of his ankle, but he is available to play. So when the people, and there are a few in the media who are saying that Lane is lying on the report. No, he's not. He's available and he's ready to play. Now, if it was an injury report, I think we would have a different conversation about whether it's ankle or whether it's a hip or whether it's both ankle and hip, which is what I think. But but yes, to answer your question, I think it'll be Chambliss, but Simmons will be available, and if he needs to play, he'll play.
So you've covered the sport for a long time, and you've seen Trinidad Chambliss since he showed up on campus. Most of us have only seen him for the last 2 weeks. I'm curious if what you've seen, you think he's ready for the challenge of going against LSU's defense, which will clearly, Neal, be dramatically different than what he's faced the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, sure. It'd be dramatically different than anything he's ever faced.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think so. I mean, in terms of like the mental preparation and that kind of thing, yeah, I think he'll be ready. He's a very poised kid. He's very confident, very smart. Yes, he played D2, but if you look at the numbers that he put up at D2, not everybody puts up those numbers at D2. And then in the 2 games he's played at Ole Miss against Arkansas and Tulane, he's been incredibly effective. He has protected the football. He's been very efficient. He has spread the ball around. He can make plays with his feet. He has very good pocket awareness. But yeah, I mean, obviously this is going to be a completely different challenge than the one that he's had before. So when I say he's ready, I'm not saying that he's going to go thrive and be SEC Player of the Week or anything, but I don't think the moment or the opponent is going to intimidate him.
Neal, is there the statistics through 4 weeks have been very good. I think you should largely expect with the Lane Kiffin offense. As the sample size grows, we'll get more truth in what's real and what isn't. Is there a big question that you still have about the Ole Miss offense?
No. I have questions on defense. I really don't have questions on offense. Okay. Look, Lane is a brilliant offensive coach. And not only that, he's got a staff full of really good coaches, Charlie Weiss Jr. and Joe Judge, and kind of the list goes on of guys that are really good offensive people. They have won with different kinds of quarterbacks since they've been here. Matt Corral and Jackson Dart were not the same player. Austin Simmons, Trinidad Chambliss are not the same player. This offense has produced. I think they're better up front than they're getting some credit for. I think they've certainly played better as the weeks have gone on. Luke Haas, the Arkansas transfer, is getting healthy. They have some depth at tight end for the first time really all season. It's a very talented receiver core with different kinds of people that can beat you. They have Lane, as you and I talked about this the other day. Lane's done a phenomenal job with the portal. He has taken the transfer portal and turned Ole Miss into a program that's won 25 of its last 30 games. There aren't many programs in the country that can say that. He's done it by being able to target players in the portal that make sense for his system, get them at the right valuation, and then get them to buy into the culture. And he's been very successful with that on the offensive end. Look, I think this is a good offense. I'm not sure it's a great one yet. We'll find out. I think it's potentially a great one. They haven't played enough good defensive teams for me to say that with any degree of comfort, but I think it's an explosive offense that if you're not disciplined on the defensive side, you can get burned. They have a lot of weapons that they can use and that they do use. It's what Lane does really well, going all the way back to his, Tennessee days, his USC days, certainly his years at Alabama. He utilizes the personnel that he has. He'll adapt his system to the personnel better than a lot of people.
He's on Twitter at Neal McCready, Rebels 24/7. You said you do have questions on defense, so let's flip it over there. Where's the biggest question that needs to be answered?
Well, a year ago, Ole Miss was elite on the defensive front,
yes.
And they were just incredibly disruptive with, a multitude of players, including 4 that went to the NFL off last year's team, just on the defensive line alone, Matt. This defensive line has some talent. I think Xavier Harris is a terrific player. I think Will Eccles, Prince Well, Iman Mielen. There's some other guys that Cam Franklin. There's some guys that are really talented, but they've not gotten home to the quarterback. They've I think have 4 sacks as a team through 4 games, which is not a great number. They have been against running quarterbacks, certainly against Arkansas. And look, Arkansas is pretty good offensively. I know we do this thing in the media where we say a team sucks, and so all of a sudden the whole team sucks and everything sucks. Taylor Green's really talented as a quarterback, and they've got, and in addition to him, they've got a couple of backs, Washington and Braylon Russell, I think is his name, if I recall correctly, that are solid SEC backs. I think LSU's better up front on the offensive line than we in the media give them credit for. So, and Taylor Green was on that night, but still, that was a lot of yardage that they put up, 520 some odd yards of offense. I have some questions about Ole Miss on the back end. I mean, I think there are some potential answers back there, but I I do think they could end up being a little susceptible. I'm not sure yet. We're going to see probably here this weekend facing a quarterback who can make every throw. Taylon Green had some success throwing the football, but Ole Miss was so off balance after the first few drives with Arkansas that it's you don't know whether that game was, an outlier or whether that game was a sign of things to come. I think it was probably more of an outlier just because Taylon was so effective that night with his decision making. Petrino had a great game plan. They executed it. I mean, their first 5 possessions against Ole Miss was 4 touchdowns and a missed field goal. I mean, they were really efficient offensively. Ole Miss can't allow that to happen again. Now, they didn't against Tulane, and Tulane doesn't have an SEC offensive front. Ole Miss's defense dominated it. I mean, this is going to be, I think, for both of these teams, this is going to be the toughest test that each of them has faced so far this season.
The biggest question that I have about this game entirely, Neal, is when it's LSU's rush offense against Ole Miss's rush defense, because statistically, objectively, neither is good when you look statistically. You said you think LSU's offensive line may be better than we're giving it credit for, and that maybe Ole Miss, a little bit of an outlier because of what happened against Arkansas, especially in that first half. So what do we look for with that matchup, which right now statistically is bad on bad?
Yeah, and I don't think either unit will end up being bad, but to this point, LSU's had a very difficult time establishing a running game. I don't think they've done, just statistically, the greatest job of protecting Nussmeier in the pocket. And then Ole Miss defensively, they're not as deep as they were a year ago up front. They're not as explosive as they were a year ago up front. I think the game gets decided here, which is ironic, I should say, Matt, because a year ago, I thought LSU's offensive front was elite, and I thought Ole Miss's defensive front was elite. And a year later, as you would expect, with all the attrition, I don't think either is elite, and I think this is where the game is decided.
They're all in the NFL, man. They're all in the league. Picks.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dudes. I mean, Will Campbell and Walter Nolan, and I mean, just the list goes on of guys that were legitimate all SEC, all American caliber players that are gone. And it's the one thing, and you and I kind of talked about this on my podcast the other day. It's the one thing that you just don't know in this era of college football, where everyone goes, well, you can just completely replace a roster overnight in a year. I don't know that I believe that. You can replace a lot and you can minimize how much the fall off is. But when you lose, like Ole Miss did, those 4 defensive linemen from a year ago, and you lose Chris Paul and you lose Trey Amos, and then you lose some guys that we don't talk about, like Trey Washington played a lot of football at Ole Miss. He was really effective as a safety. Was he an NFL caliber player? I mean, probably not. But, man, he was a really good college player who played a lot of football. And when you lose that many players, I think it takes a minute, maybe a year or longer, to replace them. I think Ole Miss is better defensively than maybe some people think they are. I think there's a little too much attention that's being played to that Arkansas game without giving Arkansas's offense the credit that it probably deserves. If you look at Arkansas's overall offensive numbers, they've kind of been effective against everyone. But I think, long-winded answer to your question, I think that's where this game's getting decided.
Last thing for you, Neal McCready's with us, Rebels 24/7. Get him at Neal McCready. Okay, Lane's got a blueprint to win this game. Obviously, both teams would love to win it 50-6, but what's a realistic path that you think Ole Miss would follow to win it?
Yeah, it's going to be protecting the football, which they've been able to do the last couple of games. That was the one thing that really saved them from disaster against Arkansas early when they were trying to figure out how to slow Green down, was that they didn't turn the ball over. They scored on their each possession, and they kept that game going sort of like a tennis match. That's one. 2, they absolutely have to get to Nussmeier. It doesn't mean that you roll up a bunch of sack numbers where you sack him 7 or 8 times. I'm sure Ole Miss would love to do that, but they've got to get him off platform. They can't let him get comfortable. He's too good. He can make every throw. I think LSU has some really talented receivers that if this thing gets into a deal where LSU where Nuss gets comfortable in the pocket, I think this ends up being probably a rough day for Ole Miss. If they can disrupt him, typically, and I've covered Lane Kiffin now for 6 years, Matt, typically Lane Kiffin figures something out on offense, and they're going to get theirs. They just about always do, and to the point where I just sort of expect it to happen. Again, I think this game comes down to LSU's offense, especially up front, against Ole Miss's defense. If LSU can establish a running game, get into a rhythm, and protect Nussmeier, I think LSU wins. If they don't, and they can't, I think Ole Miss wins. But I think it's a close game. This series, I mean, I went back and looked at it. The last time this series was decided by more than one score was back in 2021, which was, the end for Orgeron, right? I mean, ever since then, it's been home teams winning super close games. And I think this is going to be a really tight game. I think it's kind of coin toss-ish. I think Vegas has it like at a 1.5, 2 points. That's a couple of points of that are home field. Vegas is baking in. I mean, I've kind of got this as a coin toss, and I think they do too.
It's generally great theater with LSU and Ole Miss. We'll see what the next installment holds. You want to check out Neal, you can. Rebels 24/7. He and I recorded his pod earlier this week. If you want to check it out, it's linked at my Twitter and his also at Neal McCready. Always appreciate it, man. All the best. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Good to talk to you.
You as well. It is After Further Review. Speaking of Vegas, Lee Sterling will be here in 15 minutes. We'll get Lee's picks. Aaron Taylor, we'll talk some line of scrimmage, all the things that Neal and I were talking about. Aaron Taylor, one of the greatest offensive linemen, Outland Award winner, All-American first-round draft pick. He'll be with us in 30 minutes from right now as well. Mike Triplett coming up in hour number 3. So we got a ton to do on this show. We'll knock out a break. When we come back, Muse, Paulie, and I will give you what to watch. We do it every single Thursday. 3 things heading into the football weekend. We're keeping an eye on what you should as well. We'll do that next on AFR.
After Further Review.
I'm so proud to be partnered with Duplessis Builders, and I tell you all the time, you want that beautiful custom pool, they can build it for you. You can go to their website, duplessisbuilders.net. There's a Pick Your Pool tab at the top that if you're not looking for a custom pool, they have options for any budget where you can pick your pool design, whatever affordable for any budget, duplessisbuilders.net. But I also always tell you about Derek Duplessis, who's a local guy, went to LSU, he's invested in the community, he's done NIL. And we're so pleased to be partnered with Duplessis. And Derek is putting up an amazing offer. He's going to be giving away a pool. So if you go to the website and donate $25 to Dreams Come True of Louisiana, you're automatically entered to win a free pool from Duplessis Builders. Just donate $25 to Dreams Come True of Louisiana, and you're automatically entered to win a free pool from Duplessis Builders. It's another incredible way that Derek and his great team are giving back to our community. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. By the way, if you want to enter the sweepstakes, it's at 1045ESPN.com. But check them out, Duplessis Builders, online at DuplessisBuilders.net.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalBR.com.
All right, we will get to Lee Sterling here shortly, get his best bets. Back-to-back 4-1 weeks for Lee Sterling. Love a winner. All right, we do it every single Thursday. Muse, Paulie, and I go around the room. Your football weekend is here. Let's talk about what we're watching.
Here's what we're watching this football weekend.
All righty there, Mussolini. Start us off.
All right, it's not going to be on a lot of people's radars, and I understand that. Oklahoma State's going to host Baylor, and the reason we're looking at this is the interim bump. It's the first game without Mike Gundy in more than 2 decades for Oklahoma State. How do they look? Doug Meacham as the interim head coach. Can they keep it within the spread? We'll see. Don't expect them to win, but who knows?
One of the biggest matchups of the college football weekend, Oregon versus Penn State, 6 versus number 3. This is a rematch of the 2024 Big Ten title game. You have sophomore quarterback Dante Moore against senior quarterback Drew Allar. Can the Nittany Lions get over the hump this year? This is the year they kind of won the national title game. But can Penn State get a key win early in the season?
Keep an eye on the Houston Texans this weekend. I know that's not a delicious storyline, but they fancy themselves as a playoff contender. It's an 0-3 start. Statistically, teams that start 0-4 do not ever make the playoffs. So they got the Titans, who are also 0-3. This is in Houston. Texans are a 7.5-point favorite, but this feels like a must-win for the Houston Texans.
or we've talked, or at least I have in our segments here, plenty about TCU and where I think they stand in the Big 12. They're on the road this week, Friday night, actually, Arizona State. This is the old unranked team favored over the ranked team. Arizona State, the Sun Devils, 3.5 home choice against TCU.
Autoplay.
Let's see what happens.
Autoplay. Getting it, locking it in right now, Muse. Paulie?
I'm heading to the NFL. I'm going to watch Ravens and Chiefs because so far, both of these teams have been very disappointing. The Ravens lost close games to the Bills and the Lions, but the Chiefs, on the other hand, have not looked good. They lost to the Chargers and the Eagles, but they played poorly against the Giants. The loser of this game, they will be 1-3 to start the season. That's only one game better than the Saints.
It's true. Math. There are two teams in the NFL that are undefeated against the spread through 3 weeks. You want to say guess?
No, actually, I don't.
Okay, Paulie, you want to say guess?
I have no clue.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Awesome. It's the Chargers and the Colts.
Okay, the Colts.
The Chargers are a 6.5-point road favorite against Jackson Dart and the Giants. The Colts are a 3.5-point road dog against the Rams. Just something to keep an eye on with those two.
That leads actually perfectly into my last one, which is Jackson Dart's first start. It's going to be a rough go.
You're welcome.
It's not going to go how New York fans want it to go on Sunday. Let's just be honest. They got the Chargers, but what's interesting is let's see how he does look, because he obviously will be in the Dome next week when the Saints welcome in New York.
I'm keeping an eye on Sunday Night Football, Packers and Cowboys.
Yes, we will.
This is the return of Micah Parsons to Dallas.
Yeah.
A contract stalemate led to the trade. He hasn't even been there a month. Like, Sunday will be 1 month to the day. Parsons earlier this week was asked about potentially sacking Dak Prescott. He said it's going to be painful. That's my guy.
Yeah, for Dak.
Wait, is that it's going to be painful having to do it, or it's going to be painful for Dak?
He said he's going to be painful for him to do it.
Oh,
because that is his guy.
Oh.
But also probably physically painful for Dak.
You know where I'm going to wrap this thing up.
I know.
Where am I going to wrap this thing up?
Athens, Georgia.
You better damn well believe we're going to Athens, Georgia. The Bulldogs are a 3.5-point favorite over Kalen DeBose and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Let me ask you a question. You give Kirby Smart and Kalen DeBose each a week off, extra week to prepare. Who you siding with?
Kirby Smart.
You damn right you're siding with Kirby Smart. Oh, all these people thinking Alabama figured it out because they beat Monroe and Wisconsin. I'll tell you something. Hunker down, you hairy dogs. Them silver britches are coming to get all up in your... I wish if I was on YouTube right there, that'd have been good. If I was only YouTube, that'd have been really good. Georgia, Bama. Better damn well believe I'm gonna be locked into that one, Muse. I'm gonna be locked into that one.
Follow LSU and Ole Miss.
I'm gonna be locked into that one. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do.
On
Monday.
I liked the shoulder pad idea you kicked around with Russ. I thought that was good.
We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com. Hey, Bama, only way you're winning another ring is you buy it at Lee Michaels. How about that transition, huh? Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're awesome. They've been around for 40 years. And I tell you what, you could start at the website, because if you want to go into the store, you can schedule that consultation at the website with one of their associates. Go to the website, scroll down, you see where you could schedule that consult. So when you arrive, of course, they'll have chocolates on a tray and something cold for you to drink, and they'll make it feel like it is a big deal at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com is the website. You want to search their inventory if you're buying that diamond ring. Maybe you're celebrating, gents, maybe you're celebrating an anniversary. You can upgrade. Trade in the old diamond for a new diamond, a little bit of an upgrade. They get so many options at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. 10 locations, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at LMFJ.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out with us. We talked about it there with Neal McCready a smidge ago. But the probably the biggest storyline in this LSU-Ole Miss game. You have good on good with LSU's defense and the Ole Miss offense, and I think you know how I think that's going to go. But the bigger question is the bad on bad, which has been LSU's running game and the Ole Miss run defense. And I mean, Ole Miss is allowing nearly 200 rush yards per game. It's like, and they ain't played nobody. Like, anyway. I want to talk to Aaron Taylor. We'll do that in 18 minutes from right now. Actually, it's going to be about 20 minutes from right now, about 2 after the hour. Former All-American, first-round draft pick, Super Bowl champion, CBS Sports, founder of the Joe Moore Award. Nobody knows better about talking offensive line than Aaron Taylor, and I want his opinion on this LSU offensive line through a month, so we're going to do that coming up here in 20 minutes. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. Lee Sterling will be with us. His best bets, back-to-back 4-1 weeks for Lee Sterling. Let's see what he's got here for Week 5 of the college football season, Week 4 of the NFL season next.
After further review.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. As a matter of fact, since I've been on air, I got my invitation to some of the centennial celebrations for Watermark Baton Rouge. It's several days of celebrations there in October as they're celebrating 100 years of Watermark Baton Rouge. Not the hotel, naturally, but 100 years of the building. The structure has been there for 100 years. And my goodness, it's going to be such a great celebration downtown there on 3rd Street. One of a beautiful piece of Baton Rouge's history that they've revitalized and opened up to this community in this city for hosting events and wedding receptions. Of course, the Gregory, the restaurant right there in the lobby, or of course to host any type of event or stay for a staycation. It's Watermark Baton Rouge.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Place your bets, gentlemen.
It's time to head to the window.
Don't gamble it all in one place.
This is Lee Sterling's Best Bets, brought to you by Paramount Sports.
Back-to-back 4-1 weeks for Lee Sterling. Let's keep it going. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Interesting doing a show in Jackson, Mississippi with Richard Cross, and then 5 minutes later come on with you guys. So it's interesting when you go from one city to the next, and both of their teams are playing each other.
Yeah, and I know Richard well. He's a great guy there in Super Talk, Mississippi. Yep. We catch up with him every year at SEC Football Media Days. But we will get to LSU-Ole Miss. Let's start with one lead that I think for South Carolina they've got to get, because when you look at what's ahead, if they don't get this one at home against Kentucky, I don't know when they're going to win a league game. Okay, South Carolina's at home. I've seen a couple of different numbers. So you have it here at 6.5. I saw it at 5.5 earlier today. Gamecocks hosting the Wildcats. What do you think?
Wow. I mean, they got to play Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. This is it. This might be the future fired coaches bowl here. I think that both coaches are on the hot seat. But I do think, even though South Carolina was ranked number 11 at the time, I told everyone a couple of weeks ago they may not even be a top 25 team. This might be the time to wade in here. So Kentucky's pass defense ranked 125th in the country. They allowed 270 to Toledo, 330 to Eastern Michigan. Yikes here. I think this is a perfect time to buy low and take Lenore Sellers to get the job done. South Carolina, 38-17.
And I am looking at DraftKings right now at 5.5 for the Gamecocks. Okay. So an even better price there if you want it. Another one I'm fascinated with. I'm glad you have this one on the docket. Tennessee's going to Starkville. And quietly, Mississippi State is 4-0 and have looked pretty good, Lee, especially defensively. They're getting a touchdown and a half at home. Vols Bulldogs, what do you think?
Yeah, they have improved a lot. I mean, to beat Arizona State, and Arizona State is a quality team, you have to give them credit. They're even running the football. I replaced two receivers that go on and are number one receivers where they're at. So hats off to them, but might be too much here for all first-name Fluff Bothwell. He has not played a SEC game yet, as have a lot of players on this team for Mississippi State. They have a lot of guys that came from other programs, also a bunch of guys who were second-teamers last year. I think Tennessee was the better team against Georgia. There was just 4 or 5 plays that not one of them went their way. So both teams also play top 20 pace of play. That could be a difference. Last year, Tennessee was a 26-point favorite at home versus Mississippi State. I know Mississippi State 4-0 straight up and against the spread, but finally they're going to face a team might be a little too much for them in every single level. Tennessee 35-25.
ParamountSports.com, ParamountSports.com. He's Lee Sterling. Aggies against Auburn. Lee, one of the things I always look at schedules is when do you have to go back-to-back on the road in conference? Yep. And Auburn has the unenviable task of doing that here. I mean, just a slobber knocker last week against Oklahoma. Now they're going to go back on the road to Kyle Field to face a rested Aggies team. Texas A&M 6.5 at home. How do you see it?
Yeah, good point you had there. And also on top of that, Jackson Arnold, he faces his old team, and then he gets sacked 10 times in that game, has to get back on a plane, travel home, somehow get through the week, and travel play a team in front of another 100,000 fans. I mean, it's going to be really tough. I love the addition of Mario Craver. Everyone was talking about Casey Concepcion, and he's been great. 13 catches, 237, 3 touchdowns. But Mario Craver going over the middle and going deep has been almost unguardable. 20 catches, 443, and 4 touchdowns. And as good as their passing game is, I think their running game is going to finally start picking it up. So if they do that, they could be a top 5 offense in the country. And their running backs are the best I've seen in college football at blitz pickup. They come up and blast linebackers or safeties when they try to get after the quarterback. So I think it's just going to be too much for Jackson Arnold, this team here. He's going to get sacked another 4 or 5 times and compound that with 10 last week. I think A&M's the right side, 31-20.
Georgia at home against Bama. Both teams coming off a bye. 3 and a hook, depending on where you shop. I would just love to see Kalen DeBoer lose again. What do you think happens in Athens?
Well, this is tough. You got to be kind of happy if you're not a fan of either team to see either team lose. And I just think that Georgia's not there yet. I think Georgia got lucky in that Tennessee game. Not that there was any one play, but, I think everything came together at the end. I still don't think they're close to where they were a couple of years ago. They're 3-12-1 against the spread since opening week last year. I think their weakness is their passing defense, and I think that Alabama can exploit them here with their trio of receivers. So this might be another fantastic finish, and also Alabama might be helped out by the return of Jam Miller. I think that 230 yards that they gave up to Florida State, nothing was a fluke, but they just weren't ready for that game here. Alabama seems to own Georgia, another fantastic finish here. I like Alabama 28-27.
Okay, by a point there. Game in Athens with Bama taking the win. We'll get to LSU-Ole Miss. Let me get a thought. The biggest line in the NFL so far this year, one of the top 10 biggest lines we've seen in the last half decade. Saints are a 16.5-point dog against Buffalo. This is just not even going to be fun at all. But give me, if you would, share a thought on what you think happens in this game.
They want to get it for free. I'm gonna give this game away free. We're looking at like almost 17 points some places now. So you want to get it on me, be one of the first 10 callers. Call 800-400-9741. I'll give you the Bills and the Saints. We had a perfect 5-0 Sunday and Monday in the NFL for our service.
All right.
And I also like the game tonight. I'll give them Seattle and Arizona. Both games on me, 800-400-9741.
Okay, make that call, 800-400-9741, 800-400-9741 if you want Saints, Bills, and the game tonight with the Seahawks and the Cardinals. All right, Lee, Tigers, Rebels. LSU's defense is awesome. I am almost uncomfortably confident in this one for LSU. Where do you fall?
So I think the best unit, believe it or not, might be Ole Miss's offense. I think Trinidad Chambliss has been incredible. I don't know if they can replace him unless he just does not have a good game. So I like his passing, running. I think his decision-making is also better than Austin Simmons, so we'll see how that plays out. They might slightly have the best unit, but LSU's defense, close second. Offense, I think, is due to erupt against a Ole Miss defense that is just, quite frankly, not that good. You can't lose 7 of your top 8 defensive linemen from last year and be at the same level. They've given up 33.5 points in the first 2 league games, and it might come down to them having the lead, LSU, by 7-10, and then Lane Kiffin starts going for it on 4th down. I think this game is about levels. I think LSU just a step above Ole Miss here, even on the road. LSU 34-28.
LSU, that is a win and a cover, and you love to see it. Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com, ParamountSports.com. Again, if you want the Saints, Bills, or tonight's game, call 800-400-9741, 800-400-9741. Thank you, Lee. Good luck.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, man. Love to have Lee on LSU's side. He is scorching hot. Back-to-back 4-1 weeks with us. He was 5-0 on his service last week. Lee's with me.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows door siding. Oh, yeah. They do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Hey, I want to remind you, look, we're getting into this seasonal change, of course, where weather's going to start changing. It's going to be cooler again. One of the things to keep in mind, of course, is whenever we start to get the colder weather and you're cranking your heater on, we talk about costly air leaks all the time. But remember, if you want your home to be energy efficient, install these energy efficient replacement windows. They're expertly measured. They're measured twice, install once. They're custom made specifically for every window is specifically made for your home. So that way you cut down on those costly air leaks, which makes your home more energy efficient. It'll keep your heating bills down in the winter, your cooling bills down during the summer. It'll save you money on your energy bill, beautify your home, increase your home's resale value. Why wouldn't you call Relief Windows? ReliefWindows.com.